Hey, Stone Cousin, you already know what time it is. Animated horror stories. Animated horror stories. Ding, ding, ching, ching, ching. Where we at today? I am our Scary Tales house. You know, our good old cousin that likes to pop out and act up. As always, feel free to go over there, subscribe, please and thank you. Come back, subscribe, watch the video. I didn't mean to move the chair like that. I was like, what? Dragon me. Come back or watch the videos. Let's get into it. What are we doing today? Three true water park horror stories animated. I think we've done one water park horror stories before, but I'm not too sure. I'll see. If we did one, I might tag it at the end depending on the way this video goes. And if not, I'll tag something else. Excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry. Let's get up in here. Please grab a blunt, grab a bottle of water, and grab a bag of chips. Grab a blunt, a bottle of water, a bag of chips, and I said it like it was over. And a blanket. Duh, got a whole blanket behind me, and I forgot to I gotta grab a blanket. Go get one. That way you're snug. And just like that, we up in here.
I was 8 years old when my parents took me to Disneyland during my summer vacation. I was
Okay.
enthralled to see the place.
Nothing's
The
allowed to happen
rides,
at
the
Disney.
food, the kids going crazy. Everything about it felt like I was in paradise. After enjoying the theme parks, I had all the junk food I could. My mom then pointed at the gift shop, suggesting we buy some souvenirs. Everything they picked up was simple little trinkets, little keychains, fridge magnets, and other little pieces. I wasn't having any of it. It wasn't enough to encapsulate my feelings for the trip. After buying enough souvenirs, I rushed to take pictures with the Disney characters. My dad went on clicking as I posed with them. My eyes kept searching for Mickey, who I couldn't see at all. But then I finally spotted him. He was sitting on the bench ignoring everyone. I walked up to him, but he didn't seem to care.
Hey, Mickey, click a picture with me. Not now, kid. Why? I came all this way to meet you. Just get lost, you piece of crap. Oh. Hey, watch your tongue.
Period,
Before
Dad.
I knew it, my dad was in a fight with Mickey.
Hand
I
his
was
ass
too
up.
young to realize that. The guy dressed as Mickey Mouse was probably having a bad day and wanted some time off. But
Yeah.
being a kid, I made it worse for him.
How?
The security came rushing and separated him from my dad.
He called you
He
a
was
piece of
covered
crap.
in dirt and his costume was messed up in places. His big Mickey head still stayed on though, which is why I never got to see the man under that costume. Disneyland security insulted him for being unprofessional and behaving badly with me.
As
They
he should.
apologized to my parents and gave us gifts to take home.
Let's go, Adam. This freak has learned his lesson.
Saying this, my dad grabbed my hand and we started walking away. I turned around only once, and I saw the man in the Mickey Mouse attire standing like a statue and watching me. He just stood there,
Well, was he
staring
watching
at me
you,
with
or,
those
you
big
know,
Mickey eyes,
you can't really
and then
see.
suddenly waved slowly, like a real creepy slow hand movement. I don't know why my
the head
stomach
turn,
dropped when he
yeah.
did that. Something at the
watching
back
you.
of my head told me I should have just left that guy alone in the first place.
And you shut up.
We
but it's okay,
returned
you were a
home
kid,
and I
you didn't
simply
know.
went back to being a kid at school, sharing memories with other kids, kind of flexing my Disneyland trip to them. It wasn't until a few weeks later, weird things started to happen. One day, I was playing in the schoolyard. I was writing my name on the dirt with a stick when my eyes noticed a tree far off in the distance.
Mickey?
A thin black arm with a
No.
huge-sized white glove was waving at me from behind it. The immediate goosebumps made me shiver.
Adam!
I turned around hearing my friend's voice, but when I looked back, which was in
Period.
a fraction of a second, the hand was gone. I
It's
came to
crazy
the
when people be doing that, they
rationalization
be
that I
hiding behind a
imagined
tree.
it. However, things took a dark turn really quick. One night, I woke up feeling thirsty. My room has a big glass window facing the woods. I was drinking from my water bottle when I saw two black dome-shaped ears in the top half of big white eyes staring at me from outside my window. I rubbed my eyes and they were gone the very next moment. I got up to check if anyone was out there. It was silent, except for the tall trees.
You looked out the window? Because I know you didn't go outside.
Ah! Mom! Dad!
I started screaming, hiding my sobbing face in my palm. My parents rushed to my room and I told them that the angry Mickey Mouse from Disneyland had followed me home.
He was right here, Dad! He jumped on me! I saw him at school too! He was right here!
Honey, there's no one in your room. It was a nightmare. Come, let me tuck you to sleep.
From then on, I was actively scared of anything Disney. Other kids would have their Disney toys, and I would shy away. They would bring up the Disney movie they saw the night before, and I would try to turn the conversation to another topic. I got rid of anything I had that was remotely Disney, anything to ease my mind, and erase the trauma I had experienced. It never worked, but it helped. I was in junior high when my best friend decided to organize a Disney trip and asked me to join. I tried to deny the invitation, but he was my best friend and wouldn't take no for an answer. So there I was at Disneyland again, after 8 long years. It was odd, but every time I walked past a mascot, I swear they would briefly drop what they were doing, whether they were promoting merchandise or talking to a kid, and just stare at me as I passed. They just turned their heads slowly, their novelty-sized eyes glaring at me, cold and dead. But I never saw Mickey Mouse though. When I came back to the hotel and thought everything was finally over, I had no idea what was waiting for me. I was passed out on my bed after a couple of beers when I heard a slow knock on the door.
Jack? Is that you?
No,
I dragged my tipsy body to the door and opened it thinking it was my friend, but there was no one outside.
Close the damn door.
What the?
And then I peeked outside to check the long hotel lobby. With my blurry vision, I noticed something in the distance. Something was standing at the end of the lobby.
Close the door.
Jack? Why are you...
But I couldn't finish what I was saying because now I had figured out it wasn't my friend Jack standing in the lobby. It was Mickey, standing there in his tattered costume. It was just like my dad turned it into during the fight 8 years ago. My jaw dropped. Drops of sweat appeared on my forehead. Mickey was just glaring, unmoving, disturbing. The same way I saw him last in Disneyland. My heart started to race. I was too afraid to look away. He then slowly stretched his arms up like he was silently asking me to hug him. He tilted his head to the left, then to the right. His arms stayed up though. I couldn't take it anymore. I slammed shut the door, locked it from the inside and ran into the bathroom. I spent my entire night wide awake in fear lying in the bathtub. The next day, I boarded a flight home without telling what happened to me last night because I knew no one would believe it. Since then, I haven't seen Mickey, and one thing I'm sure of is that, no matter what, I'm keeping my kids the hell away from Disneyland. The story you just saw is loosely based on this creepy image found on the internet. There's no information about who took this photo, but one can say it's taken at Disneyland, as you can see a guy dressed in a Mickey Mouse costume being the sole subject of this photo. What makes this photo outright creepy is the way the guy in the costume is looking at the camera. Even though he had the Mickey Mouse mask on, the stare is scary enough to give any kids, or probably any adults, a trauma for life.
It doesn't look that bad to me.
I've never been a big fan of water, but I've always thought that water parks and pools were okay. Going to a pool was even fun sometimes. So, when a water park opened in my town, I resolved to go. Purchasing a ticket online, I loaded into my car wearing a skimpy swimsuit and my favorite floaties. I was so excited for the day. Little did I know that would be the last time I ever felt excited while visiting a water park. When I arrived at the park, everything went well at first. I presented my ticket to the admission and quickly found my way into the park. I got on the first ride, my favorite, the lazy river. I hopped into my tube and started to drift along the river, enjoying the sun and the cool water. Relaxing, I slid my sunglasses over my face and closed my eyes for a while, waiting as the river bounced me slowly in a circle. It was probably because the park had just opened up, but not too many people were in the park yet. I had attached a bag holding my phone, keys, and other core items to the tube, so I didn't have to worry about holding it or the phone getting wet. Suddenly, however, I felt my tube come to a halt. Irritated, I opened my eyes and recoiled. A man stood above me, his hands on my tube and his eyes staring at me. His slicked back hair drew my attention to his horrifically large eyes, his small mouth and his strange ears. His body was voluptuous and his skin was mottled. Hello.
Hi. Could you let go of my tube? I'm trying to relax.
I like you. His voice was weird,
Boy,
and I could only come to the conclusion that there was something wrong with him mentally. Because of this, I tried to calm myself down and instead gently instructed him to let go.
That's very sweet of you. Could you please let go?
I like you. He let go, however, and I drifted down the river again. I shuddered looking back at him, his head swiveling as I drifted around the corner and a glint of anger in his eyes. I was so bothered by this experience that I felt like I needed a rush of adrenaline, so I headed over to the more intense slides. As I walked around, however, I noticed that this strange man seemed to follow me everywhere I went. He was always close enough that he felt intrusive, but far away enough that no one else noticed him. I started to get scared, so I decided to head out of the park. I walked out of the gates and then turned around. I saw him with his back toward me, walking back into the depths of the park. I grimaced and walked back to my car, taking the bag that I had put my phone and keys into. When I reached my car, however, I realized that there was something missing from my bag. My keys were there, but my phone was gone. With a sinking feeling in my stomach, I realized that this strange man had probably taken it when I was in the lazy river. I was unlocked, too, and I hurriedly headed back to the Lost and Found section, hoping that it would be there. To my shock, it was. I thanked the guard, hurried back to my car, and drove off. Maybe that weird man hadn't taken my phone and it had just fallen out? I reached my house and hopped out of my car as the sun was setting. I was about to walk toward my house when I saw a hulking figure several blocks away, standing still and looking in my direction. It was him. He had followed me home.
Either run back to the car or run in your house. I said get back in the car. Because you can run inside.
I screamed and ran inside, locking all the doors as I frantically dialed the police. When I hit the call button, however, my phone screen flickered and it went off. I desperately tried to turn it on, but to no avail. I felt a shadow pass over my room, and I whirled toward my window. There he was, not an inch from the sill. He smiled and said something I could barely hear from inside my house.
You don't need
You
to.
like what I did to your phone?
Get away from me! Go away!
But I want to be with you.
Stop.
You're cute. He laughed and
Stab
walked
him in
away
the
from the
neck.
window right to my door. I could hear a thud as he collided with the door, making it shake. I screamed and could feel my heart pounding in fear. I recoiled, backing up against the wall as I saw my door begin to grow loose on its frame. I knew that it was only a matter of seconds before the massive man managed to break down my door, and I didn't want to think about what he was going to do to me when he did.
Please, please, just stay away!
I'm almost with you. I'm almost inside. His voice grew excited, and I knew he had almost broken through. At that moment, however, I heard the sound of a police car siren from down the street. I heard the
Someone
pounding
called
of
the
the door
men's
stop, and I could hear him
You're
cursing.
gonna have to tase his
He
big ass.
quickly
Shoot
ran
him
away,
aside.
and I heard his footsteps fade into the darkness. I ran to the door, threw it open, and ran into the street, waving my arms and yelling at the police officers, who stopped and asked me what was going on. Apparently, one of my neighbors had seen him and called the police.
Big
I was
ass random man.
relieved
Ain't
but
nobody
shaken
know him.
up, so I decided to never return to a water park again. To this day, I'm still scared of going near pools or lakes, as
That's
the
so
memory of that
annoying.
horrific water park horror story
Gonna
still
ruin the
lingers
water
in my
park. You
mind.
wanna be weird.
I don't know what kind of person that was, but I'll never forget the terror he instilled in me. I'm never going to a water park again, and I hope that I never meet someone like him again. Most importantly, however, the police never did manage to catch the man, and so far my description of him had turned up 0 results. It's just scary to think that he's still out there, and he might be watching my house, hidden and waiting.
When I was 18, I went to a water park with my class as part of our graduation bash. All of the cool seniors I knew were going, including my crush and all of my friends. Everyone traveled in packs of 3 or 4 so we could go on the rides together. My besties and I were in a group, of course, but I was secretly wishing that I had gotten in with my crush's group. I did manage to herd our groups together though. I was glad I got to see a lot of him, but the important thing was that he also saw a lot of me. However,
Okay.
I didn't realize how much that would
Ew,
save me from
who's
the
that
other people
big
in the
bat?
water park. It was the beginning of the summer, and the place was already packed. 99% of them were normal people, except for this one super creepy
Yeah.
older guy. The first time I noticed him was in the line for one of those rides, where you go through the rapids with 7 other people on a giant circular raft. There were 4 open seats on our raft when he showed up behind us. He was hairy and shirtless and horribly sunburned. He had this weirdly disheveled
sir,
look
you
to him
cannot put
too.
up.
Also, something about his scraggly beard just looked like pubic hair. Once we made eye contact,
Crazy.
he
You need to
weaseled
shave
his
it up.
way into our section.
Excuse me, girls. Could I go on the ride with you?
No.
Well, actually, we were kind of, waiting for someone else.
Really? Where are they? I don't see
Right
anyone.
behind you?
You're not lying to get rid of me, are you?
No, I swear. They'll be here any minute. Just,
And even if we were.
crap.
No.
I was totally bluffing, but luckily, at the last second, my crush pulled up and saved the day.
Hey, what's going on here? We were the ones waiting to ride with them.
Period.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize those seats were taken. I'll wait for the next one.
She said
Go
they were
on
taken.
ahead. Yeah, thanks.
Period.
We
Good
were
job.
thrilled that he showed up with his friends at the right time and got that guy to leave.
Thank you so much. That guy was so weird.
I could tell he was bothering you from a mile away.
Oh, you're so observant. Will you stay with us so he doesn't come back?
Sure, why not?
Just
From the
like
first
that, y'all got
interaction,
together.
I was almost glad he existed
little
because it
crush
got me
moment.
closer to my crush, especially because our groups were stuck together by choice for the rest of the day. Unfortunately, after that, I started noticing that hairy weirdo all over the water park, almost like he was following us. He got in line behind us at every single ride we went
Sir,
to,
you're not gonna
but
ride
not
with
too
us.
close that we could tell him to screw off. He was super starey though. I don't know if the boys noticed it, but all the girls could feel his eyes on us. I tried not to let him ruin my fun, but when he had the nerve to cut in front of us for one ride, I almost lost it. It was one of those solo slides that's a tube coming down from a big tower, and most of the line forms from the staircase to the top. We were already halfway up when out of nowhere, this creep rammed his way through the whole crowd of us, then looked back with the most infuriating smug facial expression. I started to shout at him, but it was my crush who held me back and told me not to make a scene.
Shh. All he wants is your attention. Don't give it to him.
You're right.
I certainly didn't mind the way that boy held me back. I completely forgot about being mad, and everyone else had to avert their eyes. Fast forward to the end of the line, and we were all watching this fat creep about to go down the slide. Of course, he just had to look back and smile at me all creepily right before going. A few moments later, when the lifeguard saw the creep come out at the bottom, he gave me the signal to go next.
Is it you?
I started to go, but right as I pushed off, I heard my crush yelling,
Wait! Don't go yet! Stop!
but it was too late. There was nothing to grab onto to stop myself,
He's right down.
so I had to go down. During the ride, I wondered if he was just messing with me, or if there was really a reason I shouldn't have gone down near the bottom. I found out. I was about to shoot out when I slammed into something. It was so dark that I couldn't see what it was at first, but it made me come to a
It was
complete
him.
stop.
Kick him.
I immediately started feeling extremely claustrophobic from being stuck in the tube, but I realized that was the least of my worries when I heard his voice again.
Hey, girlie, you can't run away from me now.
Kick him.
It was that creep, and he
Kick him in
blocked
his
me
face.
inside the slide with him.
Get away from me! Somebody help!
Oh, hush, baby doll. Just close your eyes and pretend I'm that little boyfriend of yours.
Ew! No!
Kick him.
Stop!
He started crawling toward me, grabbing my feet. I kicked at him and tried to climb back up the slide, but we were stuck at the bottom, and I kept sliding down.
I promise you'll enjoy it if you just give me a taste.
Help me!
I thought I was going to be stuck in there with him
Oh,
forever.
God, no.
But then I heard another voice coming from higher up in the slide. My crush's voice.
Come
Look
down.
out below!
Good, crazy. Kick
At the
him.
last second,
Kick him in the
I
head.
squirmed out of the way as he brushed past me and collided with that sicko,
Yup.
kicking him straight in the face with all the momentum of the slide. They shot out the exit and I crawled out after them. In the middle of a panic attack, the two of them were fighting in the water
Beating
trying
his
to
ass.
drown
Bah.
each other. I
Bah.
could barely see what was happening with all the splashing, but eventually my crush won out and restrained him until security arrived. After all that, the sick creep got arrested, and my crush and I started
Take care of
dating.
your man. Yep. Look at me. That was a good way to end it. Subscribe. You see it. That was a good way to end it because that man was what? I'm trying to snatch her up at the bottom of the slide? Like, what is wrong with you? For real. Kiss me like I'm your boyfriend? But you're not, though. You're a fit. You what? You're a, random fat back hairy man. Like, what are you talking about? And she in high school. She a kid, a child. Mm. Let me know which one was your favorite. These three were definitely good and worth it. You know, I enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts, feelings, concerns in the comments below. I love you guys, and until next time, bye.